Okay, so we've been talking about area here lately. Today we're going to talk about area of a regular polygon. And so we have been finding area of polygons, but a regular polygon means that all of the sides are the same length in these figures, okay? So the top is the same length as the bottom as all of the sides, okay? So we've got two parts of a regular polygon that we need to talk about. The first, it says, is the distance from the center of a polygon to any side is called the apothem. So let's look at our picture and see what that looks like as an example. So it's the distance from the center to the side, okay? So it meets up in the middle of that side. This is called the apothem, and we label it as A in our picture. The next part that we're going to talk about is the radius. So the radius of a regular polygon is the distance from the center to a vertex. So the distance from the center of the figure to the corner of the figure, the vertex, that is your radius, and we label that with an R. So it gives us the formula for an area of a regular polygon, and that formula is A equals 1/2 times the apothem times the perimeter of the figure. So you have to know what the sides are to find the perimeter, and then you just multiply that side length by however many sides that figure has, since they're all the same length. So let's look at the first couple of examples. It gives us all the information that we need, so these are the most easy examples that you're going to be given. You're not going to be given a lot of these though, unfortunately. So in number one, we need two things. We need the we need the apothem, and we need the perimeter to find the area. So if you look at number one, the apothem is the distance from the center to the side. That's going to be 7. That's your apothem. So my apothem is 7. Now my perimeter, I need to take that side length and I need to multiply it by 3 because there's 3 sides in this triangle. So when I multiply that by 3, I get 72.6. So now that I have the apothem and the perimeter, I have what I need to find the area. So 1/2 times 7 times 72.6. So when you plug that in, you get 254.1 feet squared. Area is always squared. Okay. Make sure you have that written. Let's look at number 2. Still need the apothem and the perimeter. The apothem in this case, this goes from the center to the side, so this is my apothem, 16. Now my perimeter, I have one of the sides is 13.3. I have to multiply it by how many sides it has. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So multiply it by 8, and you get 106.4. So now you have the information that you need to plug it into your area formula. Okay, so go ahead and multiply. And you get 851.2 centimeters squared. Okay, make sure you have it written. Now the next few don't give you all of the information that you need. So there's 3 steps that we're going to follow on the next types of problems. Number 1, the first step you're going to do is you're going to create a right triangle by drawing the apothem and the radius. Number 2, you're going to find the measure of the interior angle where the radius intersects the vertex. So what you're going to do is you're going to use the interior angle sum formula, which is given there, and then you're going to divide it by the number of sides, n, and then you're going to divide it by 2. That will give me the angle that I need. And then step 3, I'm going to use that angle, and I'm going to use trig to find the side length or the apothem, whichever that I need. So let's put those steps into action. Let's look at number 3. So in number 3, we've got to figure out what this is. I know I still need the apothem, and I still need the perimeter. Those are 2 things that I absolutely need. What I'm given here is the apothem. It connects the center to a side, so that's my A. That's 5. Now what I need is my perimeter. So my first step is to draw that right triangle. I'm going to draw it in right here. Okay. Oops, that's my radius. Let me let that focus. All right, so we've completed step 1. That was our step 1, to draw in that right triangle. Now our step 2 is to find the measure of the interior angle. So I've got to use this formula, S equals n minus 2 times 180. So I've used this before. N is the number of sides. I have 6 here. So 6 minus 2 times 180. And then I have to divide it by n. So I'm going to divide that by the number of sides. So let's go ahead and plug that into our calculator. I get 120. And then keep looking at step 2. Then it says to divide it by 2. So if I divide that by 2, I get 60. This is the angle that is where the radius intersects the vertex. So this is this angle right here. It is 60 degrees. I'm going to try to draw that in as best as I can. It's kind of hard to read, sorry about that. Let me zoom in just a bit. Oops. Okay. So this angle is 60 degrees. So what I need is the perimeter, but I don't have any of the side lengths. So what I could do is put an X by this side of this triangle, and that would give me half of the side. And that would get me into a position where I can find the perimeter. So I've got to find this using trig. So here's my 60 degree angle. This side right across from it is the opposite side. Remember this from trig? This side is the adjacent side. So the trig function that uses opposite and adjacent is tangent. My angle is 60 degrees. I'm going to set that equal to the opposite over the adjacent. So 5 divided by x. Okay, I know it's a lot all at once. Just keep paying attention, you'll be alright. Okay, so what you have to do here is remember the shortcut where you can take these and switch them. And you can say x equals 5 divided by tangent of 60. That would give me 2.89. But that's just half of the side. That is just from this right angle to this vertex. So that's just half of the side. The whole side I would have to multiply by 2 to get. If I multiply it by 2, I get 5.78. So to get the perimeter, I'm going to take that side, 5.78, and I'm going to multiply it by 6 because there are 6 sides. So I'm going to get 34.68. So now I have my apothem, I have my perimeter, I can find my area. So my area is going to be 1/2 of 5 times 34.68, which is going to be 86.7 centimeters squared. I know it's a lot of information. So let's try another problem like that. Let's look at number 4. Okay, so in number 4, we're going to do step 1 first. We're going to make that right triangle. So there's my right triangle. Step 1's done. Step 2, you have to use that formula. S equals the number of sides, which is 3, minus 2, times 180. I have to divide by the number of sides. And I got to plug that in. I'm going to get 60. And the very last part of step 2 is to divide that by 2. I get 30 degrees. That is right there in that vertex. So this is a 30-degree angle. Okay, I need part of this side so that I can get the perimeter. Remember, you need your apothem and you need your perimeter. My apothem in this case is given to me, it's 18. My perimeter though, I don't know it because I don't know the side. So that's where trig comes into handy. So across from the 30-degree angle is the opposite side. Next to the 30-degree angle is the adjacent side. So let's do trig to find out what that side is. So I'm going to have tangent of 30 degrees equals opposite over adjacent. So the shortcut here works. You can switch those two values. So you're going to end up with x equals 18 divided by tangent of 30, which is going to be 31.18. Make sure that you're in degree mode. If you're not getting these numbers, it's probably because you are in radian. So this 31.18, that is only half of this side. I've got to multiply it by 2. I get 62.36. So to get my perimeter, take that side and multiply it by 3. If you do that, you get the perimeter as 187.08. And I can find my area now. So my area is going to be 1/2 of 18 times 187.08. And I get 1,683.72 millimeters squared. Okay, let's do another one. Number 5. Step 1, draw that triangle. I'm going to draw it over here to this vertex. So there is my apothem. It goes from the center to the side. I need my perimeter. I'm going to do step 2 now. So I'm going to take S equals, in, the number of sides is 5 minus 2 times 180. I'm going to divide that by 5, the number of sides. And I'm going to end up with 108. My last step there is to divide by 2. That gives me 54 degrees. So that is this angle right in here, right where it meets up with the vertex. It's 54 degrees. I need this side to find the perimeter. So I can use tangent again. Tangent of 54 is going to be opposite over adjacent. You can use your trick. In your calculator, you're going to type it in as 10 divided by tangent of 54 in degree mode. You would end up with 7.27 as half of that side. So I've got to multiply it by 2 to get the whole side. You get 14.54. Okay, I'll give you just a second. Make sure you have that written. So once you have the side, you've got to find the perimeter. Take that 14.54 and multiply it by 5 because that's how many sides I have. 72.7. Now that you have that, you can set up your area formula. So my area is 1/2 times 10 times 72.7. And you get 363.5 inches squared. All right. Okay, so let's flip it over. Look at a few different types of problems. You're still going to use the same steps though. So let's look at number 7. Okay, so I still need the apothem, I still need the perimeter, but I don't have the apothem. I could find the perimeter though by taking the side times 5, and I end up with 40. But let's draw in the apothem. I'm going to draw in right here the apothem, that's A. And I'm going to go ahead and draw in the radius because I have to have the right triangle. Here's my 90-degree angle. Now I do know what this segment of the triangle is. It's only half of this side. It's going to be 4. And what I need is this A. Okay, so in order to do this, I need this angle right here, and I can use trig to find A. So let's find the angle by using step 2. So I'm going to take S equals 5 minus 2, that's the number of sides I have, times 180 divided by 5. It's going to give me 108, and then I divide it by 2. It's going to give me 54. So this angle is 54 degrees. So now I have to use my trig function. This is my opposite, and this is my adjacent. So I have to use tangent. So my tangent of 54 is going to equal opposite, which is A, over adjacent, which is 4. Okay, so the shortcut does not work here. But what you can do is just multiply both sides by 4. So type in 4 times tangent of 54, and that will give you your apothem, which is 5.51. So now I have all the information that I need to plug it into my area formula. So my area formula is 1/2 times 5.51 times 40. And I get 110.2 inches squared. Okay, so I'm going to skip to number 10. You can look at number 10. Need my apothem and my perimeter. I don't know my apothem, but I can find my perimeter real quick by doing 9 times 3, which is 27. I'm going to draw in my apothem and my radius to get a right triangle. Here's my 90-degree angle. I need this angle. And I need A, the apothem. I know that half of this whole entire side is 4.5. So let's find the angle first, and then we can use trig. So S equals my 3 minus 2 times 180 divided by 3 is going to give me 60. And I can divide that by 2 to get 30. That is what my angle is, 30 degrees right there. So across from the 30 degrees is the opposite. Next to is the adjacent, so I'm going to use tangent. I've got to multiply by 4.5 to get rid of it. And then if you plug that in, you get 2.6 for the apothem. So now you have enough information to plug into your area formula. And when you do that, you get 35.1 centimeters squared. Oops. Okay, let's look at one more different type of problem, still using the same steps though. So let's look at number 12. Need the apothem, need the perimeter. But I'm given neither because this right here is the radius. The apothem is this segment right here. This is my 90-degree angle. So let's start by using step 2. Let's find this angle right here, right next to the right angle. So I'm going to take S equals, my number of sides is 6 minus 2 times 180, and I'm going to divide by that number of sides. That gives me 120. Divide by 2, that gives me 60. That's what this angle is right here. So now I'm going to use trig again. Right across from it is the opposite, but this time this piece is the hypotenuse. It's across from the 90-degree angle. So the trig function that uses opposite and hypotenuse is sine. So I'm going to take sine of the angle, 60, equals opposite A over hypotenuse, 12.5. So I just got to multiply by 12.5. And if I plug it into my calculator in degree mode, my apothem ends up being 10.83. There's part of my solution. I'm not done yet though. The other part is that I need this piece right here, this side. I'm going to name it X, okay? Now I could use another trig function to get it, or now that I know the apothem, which is 10.83, I could use Pythagorean theorem, which I think is just a bit easier. So that's how I'm going to do it. Here's A, here's B, here's C. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. I'm going to do 10.83 squared plus X squared equals 12.5 squared. Okay, you should know how to solve these types of problems. We've done plenty of them this year. So if you subtract the 10.83 squared from the 12.5 squared, and then take the square root, you're going to end up with 6.24 as just this part, only half of the side. So you got to multiply it by 2 to get the whole entire side, which is 12.48. We're so close to being done. Don't give up yet. So my side is 12.48. To get the perimeter, I've got to multiply it by 6, which is 74.88. Okay, so area, last thing, 1/2 times that apothem times that perimeter, which is going to give me 406.13 feet squared. Okay, give you a second. I want to make sure that you have that written. Okay, let's work one more problem, number 14. We need the apothem and the perimeter. But what is drawn in there is the radius. So let's draw in the apothem, I'm going to name it A. Here's my 90-degree angle. Here's the angle that I need. So let's find that angle that we need by using that sum formula. So S equals 5 minus 2 times 180 divided by 5. We get 108. We're going to divide that by 2. Get 54. So this is 54 degrees. We can use that information to find A. This is opposite. This is hypotenuse. So I have to use sine. Sine of 54 equals opposite over hypotenuse. So I gotta multiply it by 19. So A is gonna end up being 15.37. Okay. Now that I have this 15.37, I can find this other side using Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to have x squared plus 15.37 squared equals 19 squared. So you're going to subtract the 15.37 squared and then take the square root. So that's going to be 11.17. That's only half of the side though. So you got to multiply it by 2 to get 22.34. That's the side. So to get the perimeter, multiply it by 5. And now that you have your apothem and your perimeter, you can find the area. So you end up with 858.41 meters squared. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and get started on your homework because I feel like it's going to take quite a bit of time. If you do finish your homework in class, I want you to finish up the notes. The extra practice will be good for you, so try to finish up those notes at some point in time. Okay, make sure you are quiet and working. Get started on your homework.